a wave of abductions that has been sparked by the cartoons and people. There's a whole talk about AI and the digital world, and even the most current ICT CS is sort of saying, if this continues, I might shut the internet. So do you think this abduction wave will end, and what do you think is sparking it actually from where you are?
You know, when a government fails to uphold democracy, when a government fails to uphold the rule of law, when a government fails to deliver the promises, they get sensitive to criticism. And once they become sensitive to criticism, then they look for other avenues to suppress the dissenting voices, the critics. And that is exactly what's happening to Kenya Kwanza government. Yeah, they've not been able to sustain the promises, deliver them. They've not been able to uphold the rule of law. They've not been able to govern people using the Kenyan constitution. And once they realize that now they cannot hold it anymore, the only way to do it is now to, try and silence the young people, silence the church, silence the politicians. And unfortunately, that is not the government that we bargained for. The government that I campaigned for, that was not what we expected. And that is why you see some of us behaving the way we are behaving. And we have no apology because we just can't change the tune. Because unfortunately, that's not what we are called to do in politics. We'd rather quit politics than change the tune.
And do you think things will get better or worse? Because even recently, the former Attorney General, actually the CS, Justin Muturi, he came out and it was a whole story. It made headlines about when he was
finally we know who is the chief abductor now. Finally we know who is the chief abductor.
So
Abductistan, that is what I saw people say. Now Kenya is becoming Abductistan, a country that is becoming very popular with abductions. It is very unfortunate that the person who is actually the CEO of this nation is somebody who can actually tolerate that. Having had him interviewed internationally, locally, and he came out very strongly against suppressing of dissenting voices. He actually criticized extrajudicial killings, you remember? Actually, there is one reason why majority of the people gave President William Ruto votes is when he pronounced himself around the issue of Yala River, if you remember.
I remember that.
The day he spoke about against Yala extrajudicial killing issues and Yala River bodies, that's when everybody believed in him and thought, finally the savior has come. It is a very unfortunate that the same issue that he condemned very heavily when he was a candidate, when he became the president, the same issues has even come out even bigger, more bolder than even it was during his predecessor. And remember, his predecessor, he was also part of that mess because he was the deputy president. So he can't just exonerate himself out of the mess that was done by the former president because he was the principal assistant of that president. So unfortunately, that's going on. But let me tell you something. When the bee's lifespan date has arrived, the bee has to die. It doesn't matter how powerful, how sweet the honey it produces is. When the actual day of the bee's final lifespan arrives, the bee has to die.
The leaders who are behind the president have been, even the president himself has been saying, parents teach their kids properly. It's wrong for kids to criticize the government in such a way of maybe using cartoons and caricatures and even confidence. So essentially, the president is saying that the current crop of generation, this Gen Z and the youth are not well.
My brother, the president should know that the people who criticize him are not just the Gen Zs who draw cartoons. The people who criticize him are everyone who understands the mess he's doing. It's only that the cartoons are a bit louder than some of us who are in the villages. But if you go to the village right now and mention the name of the president, like in my constituency, people will stone you. Those people don't draw cartoons. Those people don't sing songs like musicians. They're just quietly bitter. So he's just dealing with a small clique of community, forgetting that the larger community is also speaking the same. It's only that they're not able to project. They are not audible enough. Yeah. If you get into a matatu, for example, sometimes I get into a matatu just to engage people.
Really?
You ask them, what are you thinking about this government? Even the driver sometimes can even have into a crash, looking at you because you just mentioned that name and mentioned that government. People are so bitter. The payslip people are bitter, the matatu guys are bitter, the conductors are bitter. The other day I stopped at a station where they load building stones, quarry stones.
Yes.
And I engaged them. They were like, we never bargained for this and we will never ever support this government, So he should not just deal with the cartoonists and the caricatures who are just, using their creativity to express themselves. Yeah. And I think it's effort in futility. Let me tell you, abducting cartoonists and caricatures and artists, it's effort in futility.
What if they shut down the internet?
Even if they shut down the internet, let me tell you, they're going to do nothing. Even appointing people from Central Kenya to replace Tijui who and who, it is waste of time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is not making any impact. By the way, it is even making it worse.
Really?
Yes.
Actually, like in the most recent CS nominees, actually all of them are from Kenya. I was speaking to a friend and was saying like, maybe the president maybe has realized that he has sort of lost the grip of the mountain, and that's why he's giving this position to the mountain.
People said even if he revived the dead freedom fighters, the Kimathis and the Kenyatas of this world, Mount Kenya is not going to sing his song.
Do you think it's because of the impeachment of the former?
No. It just started way before the impeachment. No. When he came to Mount Kenya and promised, for example, your coffee is going to be paid well, and nothing happened. Your milk is going to be paid well, nothing happened. He came to my constituency, for example, and said and promised, in 100 days, I'm going to complete this road. In 100 days, I'm going to make sure that the Githunguri has fresh water from Karimino Dam. In 100 days, I'm going to do 1, 2, 3. And then 2 years down the line, you're still singing and still dancing and doing nothing. So people gave up on Ruto before even he realized that people have already given up on him. So now this last minute rushes, let's take Kafogo, let's take Kagwe, let us impeach Gachagua because Gachagua is the one inciting the mountain. Now that Gachagua is out of government, why don't we have the roads done? Now that Gachagua is out of the government, why are our university students still struggling? And by the way, can I ask you a question?
Yes, please.
Because you impeached Gachagua because he was a tribal king from the mountain. And now that your university model is supposed to serve all the kids of Kenya, why are you then making a child in Turkana to suffer because of Gachagua? So you are the president and you are the unifying factor. Serve the people. Stop bringing your problems to one person, because if Gachagua was the problem, he's already out of government. Why are our university students still crying? Why are we crying because of this Shah and Shif?
Actually,
why are we crying when our businesses close down? Do you know how many factories have closed down? Forget about those very many big corporates, the CMCs of this world. These local factories, kama hapa Ruiru, kuja nikutembeze uone how many have closed down. Why are they closing down? Why are they relocating to Dar es Salaam? The president should sit down and revisit his notes alone, without anybody. Akae chini na notebook. Revisit, when I traveled to Githunguri, this is what I said. When I went to Kandara, this is what I said. When I went to Tharaka-Nithi, this is what I said. He needs to take himself to a small Kamukunji and review himself and revisit his notes and re-strategize, because he is the CEO in charge of this country. But these knee-jerk reactions, Gathoni is noisy, let's deal with Gathoni. Salasia is noisy, let's deal with Salasia. This other one is noisy, let's deal with that person. When you deal with me, I'll be quiet. But have you sorted out the fundamental reason why people are protesting against your governance? Are we together?
Yes.
And giving us tokenism, politics of tokenism is a long, outdated strategy. Moi used tokenism to govern for 24 years, and no other president will succeed or has succeeded to use tokenism. So he's now come back with tokenism. That now Gathoni is my friend. Gathoni come to State House, then unawekwa kwa jet, muna travel na yeye, unaambiwa hiyo barabara nitamaliza, hii nitamaliza, na anaenda public so that now all politicians can join him to get those tokens. This katiba is very clear on how development money should be shared. And the president is out of order by presenting tokenism into politics to override this constitution.
Yeah.
The people of Githunguri deserve a tarmac as long as they give the tax of equivalent measure.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter whether Gathoni praises the government or does not support the government, it's their right to get tarmac because they pay.
Yeah.
Now unless the president were to come and say, because Gathoni doesn't support government, watu wa Githunguri musinilipe tax, ndio nisiwajengee barabara, then that's okay. Then tutajipanga, tutafanya harambe zetu, tutajenga barabara. And by the way, when Moi refused to build for us schools, we did harambes. All the schools you see in most areas of Murang'a and Kiambu and Kirinyaga, zimejengwa na wazazi wetu out of harambes. When Moi decided not to help us by building our schools, we did harambes and we constructed our schools. And for a long time, by the way, those schools because zinaitwa harambe schools. Are we together? Yeah. So if the president feels feel that Mount Kenya is now gone, they are protesting against me, I'm not going to give them maendeleo. Hello! Si atuambie tusilipe tax. Tujipange. Tutakuwa tunatoa mamilioni ya pesa na tunajenga hizo project zetu. Hata hizo barabara tutajijengea. If that is exactly what you want us to do. Yeah, but for now we are governed by this constitution. It is not a favor he's doing my people of Githunguri by sending CDF to me. It is not a favor. Nisikia sometimes when they came to Githunguri to fight me, walikuwa nasema, oh, you people of Githunguri mujue hamtapata maendeleo because your MP is not supporting finance bill. Come on. I went to parliament to exercise my rights. I can support a bill or refuse to support a bill based on my information and supported by my voters. If my voters tells me they don't want this bill, who am I to go and force myself into a bill when my voters don't want it? So when somebody now starts reprimanding me in public for following my voters, I mean, who am I? Am I not a servant of those people? Am I not supposed to be going to do what they want? Advocating for what they want?
Okay.
So I don't understand these things.
And now you being a woman MP, or being a woman leader, because we live in a country where there is there's been a talk of maybe women power and empowerment of women, and of course you are very vocal. You don't know how to really sort of suppress your voice. You are very critical. You are very vocal. I think you speak your mind. How does that sort of come out? I mean, have you ever been sort of called out, or not really getting called out, but have you ever been sort of maybe unaongea sana, like something like that? I mean, as a woman,
there are people who get very uncomfortable when you're speaking. Yeah, and some of them feel like they would want to gag you. I've found myself in very tight corners because of speaking the truth. And by the way, let me tell you, there's one country that truth is never accepted, is in Kenya. Truth is not acceptable even in churches, where you expect that those are the platforms where we propagate truth. It's never acceptable. I've had myself, find myself in funny corners just because I spoke the truth. Yeah. I remember there's one time during Moi's time when he had to send some funny characters to my studio when Moi was president. And they walked into the studio when I was on air. I refused to put off the microphone. Yeah.
It was a live session.
Yes, and I left the microphone on for 1 hour. I refused to put it down. So they waited for me to put it down, and I refused. They had to walk away. And they started following me up. You know these whole things of hearing here? Of people being followed, people being gagged. No, it was there. It was very active during Moi's time. So actually President Ruto's regime is actually copying and pasting what Moi used to do. So I was a victim of Moi's harassment in 1998. Going to 1999, between September and January of 1999.
Why?
Moi actually even called the minister and said, you should switch off that girl. She shouldn't be speaking Kikuyu. Because my radio was Kikuyu, I was speaking issues that nobody else would speak about, and he felt very uncomfortable. He sent me emissaries, he sent ministers, PSs to me. I refused to stop. So he had to send some funny men to just come and invade my studios. And the same happened during Mwai Kibaki's time. I had to be summoned to State House to go and answer questions when I was fighting against internally displaced persons eviction in Olenguruoni, in Molo, and areas of Kambitrukana in Naivasha, and areas of Enosupukia, you know. And I spoke very firmly and I defended those people. They had no voice. I am the only one who had a voice to speak for them, and I did. And Kibaki's regime became very uncomfortable with me. And so the president sent out for me, and I went to State House thrice. And all he asked me is, what's your interest? And I said, nothing. I'm just that humble girl who believes in the rule of law. I believe in human rights. I believe in dignity of human beings. And that is why I speak the way I speak. Oh. And I reminded him that we voted for Kibaki overwhelmingly in the year 2002 because we wanted to change the regime of suppression. And therefore, it was not right for him to come in as our savior. And our people were still getting suppressed, killed, maimed, and deprived of their right to land when he was a president. Yeah. But Kibaki was such a gentleman because every time I went there, he never was like, you know, why did you say this? Why? No. We always used to have a calm discussion. Actually, we always spoke when he was reading the newspaper. You know, and he would say, have you taken your tea? Can you have your tea? You know, and then we continue. So he was not that very, you know, aggressive person who would call you and shout at you, but he would deliver a point to you. You know, when you're leaving, you would always think and interpret what he really wanted to tell you or to say to you. Yeah. Yeah.
So do you think that these regimes were targeting you because of what you are articulating or because you are a woman?
I have all that time when I have been fighting for the rights of people, advocating for what people want, I have never felt being attacked as a woman. Okay. But this year and last year, I felt so. I have never felt that somebody is pushing me this far because I'm a woman. But when President Ruto and his entourage came to Githunguri to fight me, after I opposed Finance Bill 2023, he landed in many choppers, having threatened me in Narok publicly and said, I want to see that one MP who will not vote for Finance Bill. Do you remember that utterance?
But was that...
That was me.
Really?
Because I was the only one. I was the only one within his camp that was opposing Finance Bill. So when he threatened in Narok and then he made his threat good and he appeared in Githunguri, in my constituency, when I am a member of parliament, without contacting me, informing me, engaging me, and just lands in my constituency and actually even does the worst he could have done by invading a farmers meeting. You know, I wish he came for a political rally. I wish he came for, you know, for a church service. But coming to mess our milk industry with his politics of aggression against a woman, that to me, I felt threatened as a woman. And I actually went on social media and said, I can't breathe. I can't breathe as a woman parliamentarian elected by the power of the vote when male opponents, because in his entourage of over 50 people, there was not a single woman except my women rep, who obviously was not even given the microphone to speak. So I felt like these are men overshadowing me as a woman and occupying my political space, coming to humiliate me, coming to look down on me. And they actually spoke very, 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 you know, very, very suppressingly, like, we will not allow you to continue advocating for what you're advocating. But I decided, because it's my constituency, hey, man, I'm going to show you who I am. Yeah. Yes, and I did. Yes, and I told them, this is my constituency. And they had planned not to give me the microphone, and I demanded for the microphone. They had removed my chair. I put back my chair there. And I sat there and I looked at their eyeballs and I reminded them that I am the boss in Githunguri.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But again, Mheshimiwa, around that, I remember around that time when there's a moment, I think I was watching the Situation Room when you attended one of the interviews, and you dared, I think, the UDA leadership to remove you. Do you remember that, and did you mean it, were you daring them?
I have dared them. In fact, right now I've even reminded them. We are waiting for them to put in place IEBC. Once they put IEBC, some of us are going to look for fresh mandates from our voters.
Are you ready for that yourself?
Yeah, of course, yesterday. If they put in the IEBC tomorrow, we are going to look for fresh mandate from our people. Because we feel that we are not in the right system. That is not the government that we bargained for.
Actually, speaking on that, you are campaigning for this current regime back then. And I think around last year, around June, you started going against the grain. I mean, you against the wave when you started opposing the controversial finance bill.
I want to correct you.
Yes.
I don't think I'm the one who goes against the wave. It is the government of Kenya, by advocating for the wrong policies, that is going against the wave. The wave of Kenyans is with me. And those members of parliament and leaders, church leaders, and any other leader who is speaking like the masses. When we are advocating for Linda Mama, is that going against the grain? Which grain?
The administration that is in place.
Yeah, you need to be careful when you say against the wave. Because when you say the wave is the majority. Majority want Linda Mama back. Majority want NHIF back with better administration. They want health rights to be delivered in the right way. Majority of the people don't want fake fertilizer. Majority of the people don't want their pay slips mutilated to the level they are. I mean, if you talk to civil servants and public servants, they will tell you their pay slips are completely robbed. Let me call it robbing. I mean, when you take 64% of somebody's salary, honestly, is that not mutilating that pay slip?
It should be 48%.
64. Some people have reported that 64% of their salaries are gone.
I don't know that.
Yesterday, I had an X platform.
I saw that actually.
Did you?
Yes,
yeah. People told me I was on X.
Was that real? Like
yeah. Some people are confessing 64% of their salaries is gone. I mean, which economy do you grow when you're suppressing the people who are in their productive age? Yeah? So when I speak the way I speak, people think I am a populist. I am not a populist. I'm a realist. I speak the reality without sugarcoating, and that's what most people, especially leaders, don't want. Yeah. So when I speak about issues of gender-based violence, and I say we are pretentious, we don't have the goodwill to fight SGBV, to fight femicide in this country. We just have a pretentious reactionary tactic. I'm told I'm a populist, but that's the truth. Yeah. I mean, how do you say I am going to fight femicide, or I'm going to combat femicide by calling 100 women MPs in State House and parade them on a press conference and give them money to go and fight femicide?
So what are the best?
How will politicians fight femicide?
But they're the leaders.
They are the perpetrators.
No, but they're the leaders.
So what? But they are the perpetrators of the same femicide.
Really?
They are the perpetrators. How many members of parliament do we have in that parliament who have murder cases? How many members of parliament do we have who have domestic violence cases in courts? Both men and women. How do you then trust them that they are the people that are going to be... How many of them pay money to their supporters to fight politicians? For example, how many have paid people to fight me? They pay women and men to fight me, and many other politicians. So how do you make them now? They are the new face of such campaigns. Honestly, is that not pretentious? Hypocrisy?
So from where you stand...
So when we speak like that, people say, oh, she's speaking against the wave. Which wave? It is a fact people are dying of femicide,
True.
Domestic violence, extreme sexuality suppression, and coercion, and many other violence, gender violence related activities. So when you speak like that, how do you become against the wave? Which wave? So for me, I have just told you.
Yes.
24 years ago, I was speaking the way I am speaking today.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when people see me on screens and they see me on TikTok, they see me on X, they think, oh, this is a populist. No, I'm not a populist. I am a realist. Okay. Sometimes I say things that people don't want me to say. For example, when I said I support polygamy, everybody was against me.
Do you?
Of course I do, because I know why I say that.
Why?
And everybody was like, why? How can she say that? Why is she talking like that? Why is she, and she's a Christian, and she's married to one husband, and she's not a, why is she, was that time, was I populist then? No, but I spoke the reality. The reality, because immediately after I spoke what I spoke, 2 years down the line, the president of the day, Uhuru Kenyatta, signed a law and made polygamy legal in this country.
But I
had reasons why I was saying that.
Why?
Because I had struggled with the issue of alcoholism in central Kenya. I was running a rehabilitation center as a leader in Kiambu, and 90% of the kids that came for treatment in my rehab were kids from broken families. There were kids who longed to have a dad, but they didn't have, because the dad impregnated the mother and then married another woman, and because they are so Christian, that child who was born out of wedlock will not be taken care of, all assimilated into the new family fold. And I asked Kenyans, you are castigating me for saying polygamous is the way to go to bring community order? Look at communities where polygamy is accepted or embraced. Look at, for example, the Ma community. Do you see street children? Maasai children, do you see them on the road? The Ma community children? Do you see Somali children on the road as street children? Do you see other communities that embrace polygamy? Are their children abandoned or neglected? The people who pretentiously call themselves Christians and they do not accept polygamy, their children are littered in every town. They are beggars, they are muggers, they are murderers, they are thieves, because they are neglected. So I said, when my grandfather had 4 wives, if my father could not afford to pay my school fees, my grandfather would reach out.
But don't you think that polygamy sort of suppresses the voice of women, or it sort of goes against the rights of women?
Where do we have a bigger gain? Are we for women to have their power, or are we for the children who are abandoned? Where would you invest? Would you invest in the women or in the children?
I think there should be a balance for both.
Thank you. So let that girl who got pregnant when she was 14, let that girl become a wife, and let that child who was born by a mother who was 14 have a dad and a family. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Because like now in my community, when a girl gets pregnant at 14 or 15 or 16 and she doesn't get married, even in future, even if she succeeds in life and goes to school, university, she will be branded. There is a name we call them. And even if she gets married again, she's never fully accepted as a wife. Kwanza, we have a very derogative name for them.
Really?
Yeah. And so when I speak like that from my cultural setting, please understand me.
Okay. Anyway, moving on, I talked about something about femicide, and you were saying that politicians should not be the ones leading the fight against femicide.
Yeah.
Who do you think, or rather, what do you think should be done to sort of...
Politicians should only concentrate on what they do best, which is lawmaking, policy making.
Yeah.
Politicians should not be the ones to get the money from State House to go and campaign against femicide, because they will always have that tag of politics. And even the members of public will not take them seriously. All right?
Yeah.
So when it comes to policy making and law making, let politicians make laws and policies. For example, right now, as we speak, we need an urgent law to blacklist offenders. Because if you don't blacklist offenders, we will always have what you call repeat offenders. And they're there. I'm sure you've heard of stories of a pastor who raped children and then moved to another village and did the same. I'm sure you've heard about school bus drivers who are fired from a legal institution because of harassing people sexually, and then he runs in a matatu. He's a matatu driver and still harasses his clients. So we need to make a law and make sure we blacklist offenders. Okay?
Yeah.
Number 2, we don't have a legal framework for tracking cases on femicide and sexual assaults. We need a law on sexual assault forensic evidence. because we don't have a forensic evidence system in Kenya. And we can't have that system without a law. So, President calling women in State House to give them some tokens so that he can be seen he's fighting femicide or he's combating femicide and SGBV, that was just a political gimmick. When I say that, people get mad at me. Oh, they really get mad at me. But that's the truth. Yeah. So let me concentrate on what I'm supposed to concentrate as a politician. Engage CSOs, civil society. They are the people who go in the villages to sensitize women. Give them the money. Let them go there. Yeah? Empower us at the police station level. For example, in Githunguri. Come to Githunguri. I was just having a letter written by my OCPD today. Yesterday. She was requesting me to activate what we call gender desks in every police station. Because police stations don't have gender desks. If somebody is raped, they don't know where to go because the police station don't even have those desks. Yeah? So instead of giving women politicians 100 million, you give to the police so that they can train more policemen. They can give them, all the equipment they require to combat this issue.
What do you mean about double standards and the Kenyan parliament and Kenyan leaders? Exactly.
We should not be celebrating leaders because you have now become president and you have a very tainted past. But just because you are president now, the other countries like America or any other country forgets that and treats you like you're a prince. Yeah?
Were you targeting the president because I think, of course, he has been ICC indicted? I
was very, very happy that our president was not invited in US for the inauguration of the new president. I was very happy. I was completely happy. Right. Because you cannot be gagging us, taking away our freedom of speech, taking away our freedom of movement, taking away the right to own property, demolishing people's houses at night during Christmas, and then you walk in the corridors of democracy, in the mirrors of democracy of the world as the saint when you have done the mess in your country. And I was very happy that Trump dishonored all the invites that were presented on his table, including Kenya's invite. I was very happy that I didn't see some faces during his inauguration. I was very happy.
Don't you think that might work against our country? I mean, because I know there's so many...
Yeah, so that next time when we are electing leaders, we elect leaders who have no spots on their mirrors of democracy, on their mirrors of expressing the human rights. People who have no dots on the mirrors of, what the world call a good leader. Yes, so Kenyans should feel the pinch so that next time they don't make a mistake. Let us not vote people because they have billions of money. They can flash money, they can ride in good cars, they can present themselves in mightier helicopters. Those are the people we were celebrating. This is our future president. Like now I'm seeing the mitandao. Mumeanza kurudisha wale tu walitu unyang'anya mali yetu. Wale tu waliua watu wetu wakaweka Rivayala. How do you sasa mumeanza kuweka kwa social media ati next president. Next president of who? Can you first of all tell us how many people you killed? Have you ever been taken to any court for killing those people? You even killed international foreigners who came to this country before campaigns. They were killed. Who killed them?
International,
We are rated very badly internationally in the radars of people who are extremely insensitive and intolerant.
Are you talking about the case of Besigye being
Not even this current, I'm talking about the former government.
Oh, okay.
We had people who killed Indians. You remember there's some Indians who were killed 2 months before elections?
Oh, yes, I do. Yeah.
Do you remember?
Yes.
Do you remember there were some Italians that got lost and they were abducted in this country, in the Kenyan soil? I mean, how can you then now start propagating the same people who did those atrocities are the same people now you're putting on social media, the next president of Kenya? It can never be. No, unless you Kenyans are not serious. And sometimes I laugh. I tell people, I sit here and complain, this is not happening. The young people are being killed. The young people are being abducted. But when the same abductors come to your village, you are all there going to celebrate him. He is killing you, he is jailing you, but you're the same people who go to clap for them. Ama niaje wangwana, mnyinyi wote naona mkichukua mikono, mnachukua mikono ya kufanya nini? Me sometimes I feel like I will never speak for you again.
Really?
Yeah.
You're tired.
The Kenyan youth people, you need also to have principles. You cannot be complaining in social media you are being killed, you are being abducted. And when the same killers come to your villages, when they call you for 200s, you are there in thousands. So 200 is more important than that guy who was murdered. Yeah, that makes me feel very irritated. As a mother, I believe we should be principled. Today, if I don't like your policies and I don't like the way you do your politics, even if you come to my backyard, I will not come.
Really?
Oh yeah, I will not come. To do what? I shouldn't come to stand there and give you the sanctity of my image when you have not been doing what I believe in. So, like for example, if you come to my county, even when my governor comes to my constituency, I don't bother going. How can I go to celebrate him when my people are struggling to get even aspirin in hospital? And then he comes with 200 to give women. The same women who cannot even afford to deliver in that hospital line up for 200. And then Gathoni goes there to celebrate? Aye, come on. I will not.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm that principled.
Something else, actually, this morning, yesterday, you were talking about I think the factions of Mount Kenya, and I think you were sort of taking a jab at the Red Party. I think it's Jubilee. About, I think
you saw my ex?
Yes.
My ex tweet. I call it tweet, but it is X.
Yeah.
You saw it?
Yeah, I do.
And I said somebody should not come out and start telling us now we are not the ones sponsoring this new cabinet ancestors.
Yeah. So what does that mean exactly about? Because
by then the people understand when I say ancestors.
Okay, me understood.
Oh, you understood.
I understood.
Thank you.
So actually, I was looking through the comments and people were like, "So what do you want? Like, do you want?" So like, I think somebody there's a comment about ni kama sasa Mount Kenya haijielewi because you don't want this, you don't want so what do you want?
Let me tell you who we are.
Yeah.
We are that community that once we make a decision, we don't want you. Hata ukioa bibi yetu tutaenda harusi yako lakini bado hatukutaki. Am I clear? That's how we behave. Tukidecide hatutaki hata ukifanya nini. So when you saw me writing like that, I already know the ground, what the ground is saying. Chukua Kabogo, chukua Kagwe, chukua Gathoni, chukua Waigoro, chukua wote, weka hapo. Mount Kenya is not with you. Yes, that is exactly what I meant.
So basically, is that to say that Mount Kenya is sort of undecided?
No, we are decided. We are gone. We have decided we are going to change the narrative of our politics. We are not going to support President William Samoei Ruto again. So even if he comes and brings whatever he's bringing in Central, he will do it. We will laugh. But we are not with him. Never again will we support a president who actually comes in, lies to us, woo us into his umbrella. When he arrives wherever he was going, the first person to arrest politically is our son and blames him for all the failures of the government. Oh, hatukulipa wakulima wa kahawa kwa sababu Rigathi ndiye alikuwa in charge of coffee. Now he's gone. Have you paid us? Hello? You promised us 6 billion. You only gave us 500 million out of the 6 billion. You even went to church and lied in church. Wakulima wa kahawa nimewapatia 6 billion na nimewalipia madeni yenu yote, which is a true lie. He has paid nothing. He has never given us that money. So when you come and lie to us like that, you know sisi ni wangwana. By the way, this is the first time we are seeing a president that lies in front of us at the altar kwa mazishi. We had Moi. He had all the problems he had, but he never lied. We had Kibaki. He was so lazy and unavailable, but he never lied. We had Uhuru. We said he was a Mulevi. Oh, a Mulevi who had his life, but he never lied. So this is the first time we are seeing somebody who actually doesn't drink, ever sober, but lies without blinking. And you know, those lies have really affected us. Really affected us. So the betrayal of now, you have lied. We have already discovered you're a liar, and then all of a sudden, you're saying it is because of your son that I have not delivered. And now you kick him out of your government. That was the last nail on the coffin. So for me, from where I come from, people will come and do campaigns, but we are not going to support William Ruto again. But again, then why is Mount Kenya fighting Gachagua even after his... No, we fight all the time. Know what I'm saying? We have had our in-house wars. We have had our in-house difficulties, the problems. For example, why is it that Ruto is now appointing failures in government? Why was Kabogo not elected in Kiambu? Why was Kagwe not elected in Nyeri? Why was Kenyajui not elected in Nakuru? Why was Derito Murithi not elected in Laikipia? Hello? Yeah. Because he's not the darling of the people.
Yeah.
He's taken Mount Kenya as rejects and put them in his government. So his government is going to be more rejected.
And why?
You take a reject from here and actually add more rejects together, bring all the rejects together and lump them in your government, thinking that people are going to accept your government. They are going to reject it.
Yeah.
So there is a total a volume of people rejecting government from Laikipia, from Kiambu, from Nyeri, from Nakuru. They are all converging, rejecting your government.
Oh. Wow. Do you think that the government, the President Ruto's government, is sponsoring Maina Njenga to fight, to sort of cause discord in the mountain?
No.
Yeah.
I think it is us, people of the mountain, who are using the excuse of Maina Njenga to bring ourselves wars. Yes.
So it's not the government. That's what you feel?
That, to me, that is a person who is using the government as a shield. But Maina Njenga is being used by some people within government to score their political scores in mountain. Yes. And that is quoting a porcupine.
Yeah.
It's like you taking a porcupine as a pet, thinking it will never become the dangerous porcupine. And a porcupine is a baby. It's normally a very beautiful ball, you know, very admirable. Before it gets those stings, it's normally very admirable. You can actually put it on your laps because it forms a ball. But once it becomes an adult, it's a fierce animal. So there's somebody who is taking this issue of Mungiki, like this is a small porcupine you can actually carry along to Nyeri, you can present it anywhere, but the day that small porcupine will become the real porcupine, the real animal, some of us will regret. But
don't we have the NIS then? What's their work? I mean, ideally they should be knowing these things early enough. And that's what I was asking.
Do you think we have NIS in Kenya?
Of course we do.
We don't have. We have thugs.
The National Intelligence Service. It's not.
Do you think we really have the real NIS? If we had NIS, where were they when the Gen Zs were going to the street? If we had NIS, where have they been all along when a lot of mess has been happening here? A lot of mess. Yeah. So to me, I believe they are not real NIS. They are thugs for hire. They are hired by politicians. They are hired by whoever. Yeah. That day when I will be president, Kenya will know what is good governance is all about.
Yeah.